I'm 72 years old. That sentence still feels heavier than it should, not because of the number itself, but because of everything packed inside it. All the years I thought I had, all the time I assumed would wait for me. When you're young, age feels abstract, something that happens to other people. But one day, you wake up and realize you didn't arrive here slowly. You arrived here suddenly. And by then, most of the decisions that shaped your life are already behind you. I want to tell you something I wish someone had told me when I was younger. Not loudly, not dramatically, just honestly. Because no one warned me. Or maybe they did, and I was too busy to listen. When I was in my 20s, I believed life hadn't started yet. I treated those years like a warm-up, a practice round. I told myself the real life would begin once I was ready, once I had more money, more confidence, more clarity. I didn't realize I was already spending the most flexible years I would ever have. I said not yet to the things that mattered, and I said it so many times that eventually life stopped asking. I had dreams, real ones, not fantasies, possibilities. I wanted freedom. I wanted to build something of my own. I wanted to wake up feeling like my days belonged to me. But instead of moving toward those things, I moved sideways. I chose paths that felt safer, quieter, more acceptable. I told myself I was being smart, responsible, mature. What I was really doing was avoiding discomfort. Fear doesn't show up wearing a warning label. It doesn't announce itself as fear. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like logic. It says things like, now isn't the right time, or you can't afford to fail, or you should be grateful for what you have. Fear becomes dangerous when it starts sounding wise. And I listened to it for decades. From the outside, my life looked fine. That's the most dangerous kind of life. Nothing was collapsing. Nothing was obviously wrong. I had stability, routine, predictability. But inside, there was a quiet dissatisfaction I couldn't explain. A sense that I was living below my potential, not dramatically, just consistently. I confused being busy with being fulfilled. I confused endurance with purpose. Years passed faster than I expected. And then something strange happened. Time began to compress. Weeks felt like days. Days felt like hours. Birthdays came quicker. Seasons blurred together. I started noticing how often conversations began with "remember when" instead of "one day." That's when regret starts forming. Not all at once. Not explosively. Regret is subtle. It shows up as questions you don't want to answer, as moments where you imagine a different version of your life and feel a quiet ache instead of hope. Regret doesn't scream. It waits. I used to think confident people were different from me, that they were born braver, less afraid. That's another lie I believed for far too long. Confidence isn't something you have before acting. It's something you earn after. Every confident person you admire once felt exactly like you do now, uncertain, exposed, unsure. The difference is they moved anyway. I waited for certainty. Certainty never came. There were moments, clear moments, when I knew I should act. Opportunities that scared me in a way that felt meaningful. Ideas that returned again and again. Conversations I knew would change things if I had them. And every time, I delayed, just long enough for the moment to pass. I thought the door would stay open. It rarely does. By the time I reached my 50s, the story I told myself changed. Now it wasn't "not yet." Now it was too late. Too late to start over. Too late to change direction. Too late to admit I wanted something different. I told myself I had responsibilities, that people depended on me staying the same. That disruption would be selfish. The truth was simpler. I was afraid to face the cost of my own honesty. Here's the lesson that took me 52 years to learn. Life does not reward intention, it rewards action. Thinking doesn't count. Planning doesn't count. Wanting doesn't count. Only movement does. You don't drift into a meaningful life. You build it while you're uncomfortable, while you're unsure, while you're scared. Comfort is not neutral. It quietly robs you of momentum. If I could speak to my younger self, I wouldn't tell him to be fearless. I'd tell him fear is normal and irrelevant. I'd tell him that embarrassment fades faster than regret, that failure teaches, but avoidance calcifies, that no one is judging you as harshly as you think, and even if they are, it won't matter. I would tell him this: you don't get unlimited chances to become who you're meant to be. You get windows, and they close. So if you're listening to this and there's something you keep postponing, something that keeps pulling at you quietly, don't ignore it. That discomfort isn't a warning. It's an invitation. Start before you feel ready. Speak before you feel confident. Choose the harder path while it's still available. One day, you'll be my age, and you won't ask whether your life was safe or sensible. You'll ask whether you lived honestly. I'm 72 now. I can't go back. But you still can. Don't waste that.